What permits do I need to sell at a farmer's market? And do you even need a license to sell at local farmer's market? Well, in this video from Marketing Food Online, we're going to dive into 10 permits and licenses that you will potentially need to have in order for you to get your farmer's market business up and running and lucratively profitable. So we're going to dive into those 10 right now. All right, so welcome back to Marketing Food Online. So in this video, as I mentioned in the introduction, we're going to dive into 10 permits that you will potentially need to have in order for you to sell at local farmers markets. Now, we say potentially because permit requirements vary, of course, from state to state and city to city, and even from farmers market to farmers. When it comes to the nitty-gritty of permit applications, patience is a virtue. Trust me. I've experienced this when we first launched our business. We were doing local farmers markets and local events, and it became quite tedious and often involves filling out forms, paying fees, and awaiting inspections or approvals. Now, once obtained, display your permits proudly in your stall, reassuring customers of your legitimacy and dedication to food safety and satisfaction of their customers. Remember, farmers market licenses are not just some bureaucratic hoops to jump through. They're great safeguards for the public health and assurances that the product quality and the vehicles of transparency are in trust in the marketplace for you to sell. So let's dive into this 10. I'm going to go now from number 10 down to number 1. So you want to stick with us for the next about 10 or 15 minutes. I want to go through each one of them down to the most important one, which will be the last one. First of all, number 10, specialty permits. So selling any types of meats, cheeses, fish, or spirits, even in some cases, these often require specialized permits ensuring the safe handling of these specific food products. And believe it or not, yes, in some states, in some cases, depending on where you're making it, selling local meats or cured meat from a third-party company. Now, it is a tedious, very, very involved, and trust me, and actually quite expensive process. It's actually not cheap, and it doesn't take a couple of days to do. It's quite tedious. But if you do want to go through that process of getting the ability to put that organic label on your products and being certified, you definitely can, especially if you've got a farm or if you've got some type of commercial kitchen where you're producing specifically organic products, because there is a guideline. Location comes in at number 9. Number 8, nursery stock license. So green-thumbed plant sellers, listen up. This license permits you to sell plants and nursery stock directly from your facility in farmers markets itself. So potentially this could be something like herbs or spices that could be natural ones. If it's not necessarily a packaged food product or a baked good under cottage food laws, a nursery stock license you may potentially need to have as well. Now, number 7, cottage food operations permit. So in the states where it's required, not every state, which is actually quite interesting, but not every state requires a permit for you to sell food from home at local farmers markets. But if you do, you're definitely going to need to have this one. So planning to sell home cooked delights, if that is what you want to do, you might actually need this permit, allowing you to prepare certain foods in your home kitchen without inspections, but with a permit. So definitely take a look into that. Again, every city to city is quite different, and state to state is also different. Now, keep in mind one thing, really quick side note. And by the way, if this information is helpful so far, do give us a big thumbs up. We do definitely appreciate that. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. We've got tons of great videos for farmers market vendors and food entrepreneurs just like yourself. You'll definitely find them in over 1,000 videos on our channel. Now, back to what I was saying about this, it's very important to make sure that you have to have your permit, because some cases, farmers markets locally that will actually producer's certificate. So a CPC, as it's known, if you're selling farm produce, okay, a CPC may be required. This is actually a document usually issued by the county's agricultural commissioner. That would probably be Department of Agriculture, actually. Confirms that you've grown the produce yourself. You basically want to maintain a true, honest, what they call a spirit of the farmer's market, where you are the one developing and growing your produce on your property and then selling it. Believe it or not, there's a lot of shady and unfortunately bad farmers markets throughout the country where people are going and buying produce in bulk and simply reselling it, and then saying, they don't prove it, but they're actually saying that they're growing it on their property or they have a farm. And in many cases, they don't, which in some states, it's actually illegal now. And if you get caught doing that, you can get a fine or simply get shut down. Number 5, a food handler's permit. So this permit also from the health department is required if you're handling, preparing, or even serving food. Now, in some cases, this crosses over into cottage food laws, where you might have the potential for the health department to step in because they might regulate it. Some states don't have any regulations about that, but if they do, it falls in the lap of the health department. It typically involves, of course, ensuring your knowledge of safe food practices and basically how to handle the food before you sell it. Number 4, health department permit. So selling edible goods definitely something you want to look into, like baked goods, cookies, cakes, whatever it might be. You may need this permit as well. This is from the health department itself. Health departments ensure that vendors comply with local food safety regulations, keeping, of course, your customers safe because you have gone through the process and understood how to handle the food and how to package it and, of course, sell it. Next up, let me see where we're at. Number 3, so farmer's market vendor permit. Now, this is specifically unto the farmer's market where you're going. There's actually many farmer's markets that require their vendors to obtain a farmer's market permit specifically to that market. They can range anywhere from $75 up to a couple $100, believe it or not. Sometimes they'll actually not charge you, but it's run by the farmer's market, the owner of it, and they can dictate whatever they need to have from you. So keep that in mind too. Number 2, sales tax permit. Now, this is potentially for people who are going to collect sales tax on the sale of food products within farmers markets. Now, as a vendor, you'll likely be required to collect sales tax. So the permit, often issued by your state's Department of Revenue, is actually what it's called, enables you to legally collect sales tax and then remit that to the state. And that's normally done either every year or every 6 months. Last but not least, the most important of all, whether you're running a multi-million-dollar business, which in some states there's no sales cap, from your home selling baked goods or not, you're going to need, number 1, a business license. Now, often this is the initial step. So this is probably one of the most important, and that's why we saved it for last. A business license, which is issued by your city or county, essentially permits you to operate the business within your city or county. And this basically ensures your application indicates that you're operating as a farmer's market vendor. Okay. Now, in most cases, when you get this type of business license, you'll have to specify exactly what you do. And if you are someone who is selling at farmers markets, that's something that'll have to be on the business license itself. So you definitely just want to keep that in mind as well. So those are the 10 potential, very, very important, but 10 potential permits and licenses as a farmer's market vendor. If you're selling a food product of some kind, you need to make sure you check into and have them, because in some cases, if you don't, you can get fined, you can get shut down. And in some extreme cases, I've even heard people having to serve time in jail because they're selling food from home. And that is pretty extreme, but it does happen. So if you've got any questions about starting a farmer's market business, or if you already are a vendor and you've run into some of these, let us know in the comments section down below. What was your experience with that, and how did it go, if it was successful, and what did it actually end up costing you too? That was one thing I didn't cover in this particular video, but I'll definitely dive in and do another video about how much all of these are costing on average, because of course they vary by state. And I'll see you guys on our next video.